So, in the beginning, there was nothing, and then God said, "Let there be light," and suddenly you could see. So here we are. There's sensation, there's heart beating, there's bottom on your seat, there's hearing, there's feeling, there's drinking if you're drinking, there's eating if you're eating. And this is what is. This is what's happening, and this is all that's important. There's nothing else that's actually needed. And what is your gift, or is the gift, is the mystery. What is the end of limitation and the magic. Limitation only exists in what's not here. There is no limitation here. You might think that you're somebody looking, or you're somebody experiencing, but that's a thought. That's an idea that you're telling yourself. It's not actually the way it is. You aren't actually somebody that's looking at themselves, that's looking at the world. It's an energetic division which is created by story that you're somebody inside here or inside the body looking. You're not inside the body looking. There is only looking happening. That looking is free. It's full. You suffer when there's an identification with what you think. And the fundamental of what you think is that I am somebody inside the body, that I am somebody sitting, observing the world, that I'm somebody that's good or bad or right or wrong or tall or short or fat or thin, that I'm somebody that's come from the past and sitting in this moment, that I've experienced a life of 38 years and that I've got another 38 years to live, that I'm rich or poor. That I can or can't do things, that things will or won't happen. I'm going to be successful or unsuccessful, victorious or not victorious, that I'm powerful, that I can choose or not choose, that I'm thinking, and all of that is what's left without it. What's left right here, right now, what is there? And what's always here, no matter what, is what is. And what is consists of two main components: a consciousness of everything, so everything that's conscious, or consciousness which is everything, and this sense of existence that always exists. All the things change, the sounds change, or the sights change, or the objects change, life changes, but what remains is a consciousness of it and this sense that it's existing, that's happening. And it's not that that consciousness is separate from all things. The consciousness is all things. Consciousness isn't something that starts in the brain. It's not something that's aware of the world. The consciousness is the things, is the appearance of these things, and they're appearing from no place, from nothing at all. No place, nothing. And this sense of existence is like that tool that as well this I am, this is. And it's not anyone that knows that, it's just the way it is, this empty looking that is all things, that comes from this moment, and this sense that it's all happening, that this is existing. And the I am is love, and you could say the consciousness is emptiness, wisdom. And it's looking through a body, so it's consciousness, life is looking through all these bodies, but there's not actually somebody inside these bodies. There's a story running of somebody, and that doesn't have to be denied or ignored, but that's not actually who you are. There's an experience of it. And the way that you can know that is there's a consciousness of the thoughts, there's a consciousness of the story. So therefore, that story of you cannot be what's perceiving. It's a perception. There's something that's conscious of it. Like there's a consciousness of the chair, there's a consciousness of the table, of the computer, of the light, of the window, of the sounds. So it's the same with you. Everything you think about yourself, there is a perception of it, and you are the perceiver, not the one that you're perceiving. And that's the fundamental mistake, and it becomes an energetic in the body that I am a body, I am a story. But that's not true. You can see the person, so therefore it can't be you. There is a perception of that person, so it cannot be you. And this is freedom to know this. It's an energetic release from being bound, from being limitations, from being an idea, from being something which can be boxed. And naturally your essence is this magic and expansiveness, and in that the person plays, and the person might have anger or happiness or sadness or joy or frustration, but that person isn't you, and that's the freedom. The belief that person is you, everything becomes so real and intense, and there's the constant identification to the moving story of what's happened to you and where you're going. And consciousness isn't separate from things. There isn't a consciousness which is separate or prior to things. The things are consciousness. Consciousness and things, consciousness and perception are the same thing. You cannot ever find consciousness. You can't ever grab hold of it and say, this is what I am. And consciousness isn't found in one particular thing. So you don't say, okay, I'm consciousness and I'm the table. Consciousness is in all things, and the things are appearing and disappearing from that same source of who you are, which is no thing. But perception, you could say, but even that is too much. Even that gives it too many names. And the game is to remember without it being an intellectual remembering. Or remembering before, prior to the intellect, prior to words, prior to what you can know in movement. It's a remembering beyond that. It's something beyond the person. The person can't know this. The person is always moving in this. And so that's the game. It's really amazing, and it's here all that time, that remembering. It's here in everything that's happening. It's just the focus is on you and what you can get and how happy you can be and what feelings you feel and what you're going to get from this life and what's important to you in this life. But in between all of that, in the gaps in between, there is this conscious perception that wants nothing, requires nothing, and is totally free and clean of suffering. And it's also got this sense, this I am, or this sense of existence. Not an I am that consciousness is conscious of, but this I am that's beyond that, that's love, that loves all of this. Not sort of I am and there's a consciousness of the I am. It's beyond that. It's this sense of being, this aliveness. And it's those two things, one without the other, makes them incomplete. So without the I am, without that sense of beingness, it's cold, the consciousness. And without the consciousness, it's not wise, because there's still attachment to that love, or there's a belief that that love is you in some way. They're together, they're two sides of the coin, this sense of a beingness, this alive presence, and then this empty looking. It's emptiness. And this is freedom, this recognition, this remembering beyond you. Remembering beyond you. It's not even remembering, it's just seeing clearly, it's seeing the detail of life, that what's always here is perception, is awakeness, and that beingness. Everything else comes and goes, it comes and goes. Comes and goes. So you become lost in the daydream when you believe that you're something that moves, when you believe you're a feeling, a thought, an idea, or a body. You believe that you're going to die with this body, and there's this energetic contraction into it and fear of losing this body, that you believe your house or your money is yours, that this life is yours. Whose is it? Whose life is this? Who's experiencing this life? And who cares about anything? Who cares about anything? You'll notice the consciousness just totally embraces everything, and all problems arise from the person that's attached to its life and attached to what it believes it needs. I need to be rich in the future. I need to be successful in the future. I need to be validated in the future. I need Lisa's attention or my mother's attention, or I need to have a bigger house or more furniture, or a freer environment or less work. None of that is true. All of that is mental delusions. It doesn't mean that you don't change that in your life, but your freedom is that empty looking that's right here. Who is looking here? Who is experiencing? And notice that there is no difference between what is and the experiencer. The experiencer and everything that's perceived is who you are, and everything's appearing from that, and that is love. And it comes with heart, with beingness. So it's this consciousness and this beingness. It's not just empty consciousness. That would be cold. That would be dead. It also comes with a presence, this heart. This is who you are, and it's always here. You don't need to be aware of it. It is aware of you. It is conscious of you. And in the human form, it feels like you have choice and that you do things and that you move around this world. It would feel like you were trapped if it didn't. But you're not really choosing. Like, how could you choose? It's an appearance of choice. So if I give my dog, for example, so Khaleesi, who's sleeping over there. We've been on the beach a long time today, so she's very tired. Ee. If we give her for an example, so if I said to her, okay, you've got to choose between an apple and a piece of chicken, So Khaleesi has no perception of choice. She has no idea about choice. She doesn't sit there and contemplate the meaning of choice, if she has freedom, if this choice was better than that, if she's guilty for not choosing this or that. Should I tell you why she doesn't do that? Because believe it or not, dogs cannot think. I know most people think they can think, but how could they think if they can't speak? They have no language to think in. They obviously have some form of imagining, but they can't sit there and be like, did I make the right choice today? Is democracy successful in our country? Should I vote for the Green Party or Labour? They don't have that ability. They apparently have a brain the size of a walnut, which is a little surprising, but apparently they do. And they can't choose in the way that we project onto them they are. But yet there's an appearance of choice. So if I give her a carrot and a chicken bone, so this is the chicken bone and this is the carrot, she'll be like, and she'll take the chicken bone. Now we would say that she chose the chicken bone over the carrot because she's a predator who likes meat. But she didn't choose. It was predestined what she was going to choose. Of course she's going to choose the chicken. Sometimes she chooses a carrot if she hasn't had enough fibre, but most of the time she's always going to choose the protein and the dead animal. And how did she do that? Everyone's like, that's my choice. I chose to pick a house in Derbyshire. How? You were programmed to pick that from your very beginning. Like, she's programmed to pick the chicken. She's not good or bad for being a vegetarian or a meat eater. She was programmed to pick it. And that programming came from many, many generations of dog on this big, long evolution in time. And humans are so arrogant because they're sitting there and they're in the supermarket and they're choosing between buying Colgate and Sensodyne toothpaste, and afterwards they're like, oh damn, I should have bought Sensodyne, I just wasted my money, blah 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 blah. But that choice begun millions of years ago. They couldn't have chosen anything else. And then they're arrogant because they believe they did it and they made a mistake. Believing you made a mistake, in a way, you could say is arrogance, because how could it have been any other way than what it is? Yet, as humans, our mind goes crazy on this. We suffer so much about choosing, and our society works on the illusion of choice. So it's funny the way that our society reflects back this illusion of choice. So in the moment, that ability to choose makes us feel free. So the ability to choose between a carrot and chicken makes us feel free. Like, we don't feel like we're caged, or we don't feel like we're robotic. We feel free. Excuse me about wiping my bogey, but it's hay fever season, and I just couldn't care less if people are disgusted by the fact that you get bogey and slime coming out of your nose when it's hay fever. I would wipe my nose with tissue, but I'm trapped in here and I forgot to bring tissue. So the sleeve becomes the next best thing. Dig, dig, dig. So it gives us the sense of freedom, the fact that we can choose between a chicken bone and a carrot, and then we're like, boo, 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 yeah, and that makes us feel free. And then our society reflects this back. Like, our society is based on the illusion of choice, that we can choose what career to go in, we can choose what washing powder to buy at the supermarket, and we have hundreds of different choices, and it makes us feel free, this appearance of choice. But who is choosing? It couldn't ever be any other way. You didn't ask to have your brain or your particular wiring or your conditioning of your society or to be a human. It's just the way it is, and you're always going to pick what you pick, and then the mind doubts it or feels ashamed by it. One of the things, if you want to wipe out your suffering, even though it's not your choice, but if you want to wipe out a big chunk of your suffering, it's just to feel confident in your choices that you didn't choose wrongly. Well, the reason I suspect that we're programmed to have the appearance of choice is because it makes us reflect information. So our system uses the appearance of choice to evolve. So by being able to say that was a wrong decision, we can then reflect on a better decision and evolve our decision making. We can then think about what would be a better decision and what we could do in the future, even though there is no choice. But doing that makes us evolve as a species. It makes us grow. which is what we're all about, is evolving. And in the moment, what we're doing when we like sniff like Khaleesi, the chicken bone or the carrot, what we're doing in that moment is putting information into the body so the body can evolve from those inputs. But there is nobody that's choosing. There is an evolution of a machine happening that's completely impersonal and got nothing to do with who you are. Who you are is that still freedom, that perception that's right here and not separate from everything. What happens is this energy sucks into the choices and claims it and says, me, I'm choosing, which is a big amount of arrogance. I'm acting. Choice is super important to help us evolve, but it's not the truth. It's not reality. How could it be reality? In a way, it's a really simplistic idea, and it's kind of crazy that humans bought into it and believed that choice was a reality. How can you choose? How? Who chooses? Like, are you somebody in the background being like, I'm going to choose this. Let me just write in the thought that chooses this. And then the thought comes up, I'm going to choose to go for a walk now. You don't. The thought just appears from where? This infinite space of nowhere. And this is the key. The thought, the feelings all arise from nowhere. And that's the freedom. That everything is appearing from nothing. Look at your experience. All of this is not appearing from the past. It's not appearing from a generated place. It's all spontaneously appearing now. And that's the answer. Now, now, now. And you can screw the idea of consciousness. You can screw in the idea of I am, the idea of God's consciousness, or this, or whatever you want to call it in a complex way. But what the teaching truly is that this moment is it, right here. The freedom is here. It's all about being. It's all about the experience. It's not about what the experience accumulates to, because I can assure you there's going to be no big bang at the end. There's not going to be this fireworks when you get to the end of life and be like, you made it into heaven. You made it into hell. Heaven and hell is right now. There is no ending that's coming. There is no ending. Look around at life. What ends? Look sensibly. Deduct what ends. Nothing ends. You're not going to make it to this crossover line of heaven that's like, yeah, we made it. And then what's the story going to be? Why did you make it into heaven? It's going to be like, the story is that whole life we were judging you if you're a good person or a bad person. And if you're a good person, you get to live in constant state of pleasure for the rest of your life. And if you're a bad person, then you live in a constant state of hell. But why? Why would that be the finale to this life? That you live in a constant state of pleasure, that you get these 80 years where you've got to prove yourself worthy of pleasure. It's such a bonkers, crazy idea. The freedom, what you're looking for is now. The answer to everything, the Garden of Eden, heaven is now. It's that realization. It's the collapse of the wanting and the needing and the sucking of life and trying to make everything yours and appreciating it for what it is. Free, unlimited, boundless. Like looking at science and realizing that this idea of the Big Bang and constant expansion is a reflection of our nature. Our nature is expansion. Our nature is unlimitedness. And as we remember that our nature is unlimitedness, looking through apparent limitation, then freedom takes over. And beauty is remembered. This miracle is remembered. When you believe you are an object moving in time, it's life of suffering. Because everything you love will be taken from you. Everything. I can't believe that I've just done this massive speech because I'm super drugged up. I've got really bad hay fever and I'm in northern Germany and I have none of my normal things to help me. So I just drugged myself. And if you have hay fever, you know if you take the drugs, it's like your all day I've been like... And then, and now suddenly I'm talking about this subject and it's like full throttle. It's pretty impressive what we can do without doing it. Oh, I can see why light for you is on there trying to bonk me again. He can't successfully bonk me in person, so he tries to do it through words of domination. It's all about sex. He doesn't believe me, though. He thinks that I'm a bad teacher and that he's got to correct things and that he's got to help me because I need help. Yes, the young woman, the young damsel needs your help. Here is my hand needing your help. It's sexual. It's just like the woman to the male teacher being all like, I need your help. I need your help. And that's what the male, like in traditional mythology, that's what the male is. The male energy, the masculine energy is like, I will save you. I will help you. And in spirituality, when the male is the teacher, the women are all like, oh yes, please help me. And it's kind of like a sexual act being acted out, but a lot of the time they're not conscious of it. And now you're trying to play it, but you're trying to force me into being helped by you. I'm now a middle-aged woman, and I'm so super aware of these dynamics between men and women. Oh, here we go. Yes, I am trapped. That's an impression of sex. You just can't see it because I'm trapped between all this technology. I can't give you a full version of like a rabbit going. And I apologise to all those people that are very sensible listening to me being such a banana, but I am a banana. I'm like this in real life constantly. So if you have any expectations of me not being a banana, and being sensible, it's not the way it goes. Oh, I need your help. Help me. I'm hopeless. I'm hopeless without you. Please take my hand. I could never manage to teach non-duality without you. Please, here is my hand. NOT Lisa. NOT, don't expose the game. We've all got to pretend here that sexuality doesn't play a huge part in our society. It's so funny the way that we do that as a society, the way that like sexuality is just covered and hidden. But there's so many motives and interactions have sexuality in them, and then it's like, oops, we got to close the door to that. And then we have all this thing in our society at the moment where like famous people, if they cheat or if they're caught looking at porn or doing anything sexually slightly indecent, they're all like demonized. Not that I'm not into the Me Too movement. I think that was a really interesting experience that happened. I just mean it more on like I meant it on a different level when I was speaking about it, but I can't bother to even think of that now. My brain is too messed up from all the chemicals. It's the hay fever pills. Pardon me. Okay, so to stop me going into a fit of talking about nothing, let's turn to some questions.